Hi, but okay. Some of you might be wondering where the Sunday back and shoulders routine is. Well, it's funny you say that because I didn't come in Sunday. You know, that being that I was extremely sick. The flu is going around. Um, Pretty much everyone in my close family that I know was within the past 7 days. All of us have been dealing with it, and it just so happened that um, what time was it? Oh, it doesn't really matter. It was Saturday night at some point. Dude, I felt horrible, and it's that you kind of like, and I knew because, like I said, a lot of my close family already had it, so I kind of had a hunch what was going on, but foolishly, I was hoping, yeah, maybe I just ate something bad and it's not agreeing with me. No, not the case at all. Not even close. And to be honest with you, like I said, it started Saturday night. I'm still feeling. I mean, don't get me wrong. I feel good, a lot better than I did Saturday. But it's just that lingering feeling. I just feel a little weak because I couldn't eat. Like you can't eat nothing when you're throwing your guts up. So pretty much all day Sunday, all day yesterday, I didn't eat anything. Today, I woke up feeling, like I said, feeling a lot better. Had me pretty decent breakfast, pretty decent lunch. But I could feel it from not eating for a whole. It might have been just a little over 24 hours. I feel just not as strong. You know, just to put it plainly, I feel a little weak. So we'll see what I can do. And again, this might be foolish too. I have 375 on here, which is what I worked with last week, and it actually felt surprisingly light. We'll see if we can, replicate that or duplicate that again. I was considering just working with like 325 again, maybe even 335, which I could probably still, hitting it fresh, I could probably still get a good 12, maybe 13 or something. But next week, I think I said this last week already. It's official that next Monday I am starting the cut, and it's going to be a strict one. No cheat days. I might throw in a cheat meal whenever I feel like I need it. These guys got to remember I don't have the luxury and not having a job, and my job is pretty physically demanding. And when you're going on very very limited carbs and calories, it can start to catch up to you really fast. So I'll have to just play that out. Responding to how my body feels. So saying all that, since this is the last week that I'm going to be bulking, at least for the next 10 weeks, it might be a shortcut. Then again, I told my girlfriend at the 10-week mark, if I'm feeling good, I want to keep going, we might make it a 16-week or just whatever. You know what I mean? But 10 weeks for sure. So since this is the last week of the bulk, I want to go as heavy as I can. Again, considering I got sick, this might be more rough, more difficult than last week. And if I have to go down a little bit, I will. But we're gonna give it a go. We're gonna give 375 a run again, and I'd like to get. Man, what did I do last week? If I remember right, I think I did 8. Shit, I don't remember. what I do, like 8, 9, 7 or something like that, or maybe 8, 8. And the second one I could have done 9, but I don't remember. So either way, at least 8 reps. I don't know. This might, again, like I said, this might be kind of foolish considering I literally just come off of being sick 24 hours ago. But fuck it. Like all in all, considering I was sick, I feel, pretty good. I did a lot of sleeping, so that I guess that helps, you know, mitigate how bad I could feel. I got a lot of sleep. Um, let's just try it. Let's just try it and see. I like. I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place because I missed yesterday's workout because I was sick. So I really have that itch to just fucking get after it. You know what I mean? Even more than usual. I always kind of have that, but it is. Some days it's just a little more, you know. And today is that day because um, I didn't work out yesterday when I normally would. But then on the other hand, I could feel the effects still from being sick. So it's like I got to be careful and not, you know, overdo it and push myself too far. Even though I really want to, I really want to just fucking get after it today. And that might have to be something, depending on how this goes, might have to be something I do with volume. If I can't go as heavy today because I feel how I feel, maybe I'll just do a lot of volume and not such heavy weight. Still go as heavy as I can, But anyways, I'm talking too much. Let's try it. Oh, oh, thanks, man. Yeah, that kind of. What's up? Oh, I do this all the time without a spotter, but yeah, that felt a little heavier than last week, which is unfortunate. Well, now I gotta decide. I don't know. I've been on a kind of a streak of the second set going better than the first, so I'm like, should I try one more time? I kind of want to. Fuck, I don't know. Well, pretty much like always. Let me just take a good rest, and I'll try to figure that out. On these compounds, I'll probably take a good 4 or 5 minutes, even. At least as long as I'm going this heavy. If I go down to 325 or something, I'll go a little quicker. But um, I'm gonna say I'm leaning toward doing this weight again. But to be honest with you, it might be the last one. I might have to go a little lighter after that. We'll see how it goes. Um, yeah, just from not eating at all yesterday. I mean, that's what I'm gonna blame it on. I gotta blame it on something, right? It couldn't just be me, right? Um, yeah. Let me think about it. Like I said, I am leaning toward at least trying one more. So, all right, I figured out why that first set was not as good as last week. It was because I didn't have the right song playing. That's what it was, right? Like I said, it couldn't just be me. That should be something else. At least that's what I'm gonna blame it on. So I found what I feel is a better song equipped for what I'm about to do. Honestly, if I could at least just get 7 again, I'd be happy. Considering everything I've went through the past 36 hours. But if I can do more, obviously I will. Um, let's give it another shot. All right, that confirms it. It was the song. Not only did I do one more rep, here I go again with what I'm about to say, but dare I say, 9 was on the table. And don't get me wrong, would have been if I had to put a percentage on it, I'd say it's probably 50-50 whether I would have got another one. But if I had to bet, I think I could have. Of course, I've been wrong before, and I'm going to continue to be wrong time and time again. That's the fun of this, right? That was 8. Pretty smooth reps. I'm starting to, I'm starting to get suspicious of my warm-ups. It's a very fine line, especially when you're starting to work up this fairly heavy weight. You don't want to do too much to exhaust your muscles a little more than you want before you do that first set, but you don't want to do too little. Hence, I think what's been happening to me, getting more reps on the second set than the first one, kind of tells me I wasn't warmed up properly, wasn't quite ready for what I did on the first set. I'll be honest, I'm tempted to do this again now and maybe just do one drop set or back down. We'll see. All right. I could say that if the second set wouldn't have went as good as it did, I would say that was kind of a shitty bench session. But since the second one was pretty good, honestly, I'd say this is a pretty good bench session. That's what I'll say. 7, 8, 7. Definitely not as good as last week, but I can't expect it to be. I mean, come on. Yesterday was fucking hell. What I was going through, it was terrible. I wouldn't wish that shit on my worst enemy. So, all right, let's do a little. I'll go down to 335 because that's honestly when I start cutting, 335 on decline is going to be like my measuring stick. It's what I'm going to work with a lot. Try to maintain reps, and I know I'm going to be cutting, but I'm going to up my protein even more, considering I'm going to be in a calorie deficit. So ideally, if I can put on even a little muscle while I'm shredding fat and water, if I can add an extra rep to 335, cool. But 335 is going to be kind of my measuring stick of the cut, if that makes sense. And obviously, I've done 3 sets already, so whatever I get with this is not going to be maximum. But you guys know what I mean. We'll find out. We'll find out next Monday. Let's throw 335 on. Oh yeah, not too bad. 11 after everything I've done. So I'm thinking fresh, at least 13. Like I said, we'll find out next week. But I put a nice little bow on top of this session. Let's move on. Let's move on to some machine work. All right, here we are. Which this might be the last week for the foreseeable future. Let me say it like that. That I might be doing this. I was thinking about it. You know, the more I get into the cut, like the deeper I get, the more stability is really gonna hamper me because you guys know when you're depleted of calories and carbs, even fats to a certain extent, stability is a big factor. It can make something feel even more than twice as hard, especially when you're on a cut. Um, so honestly, I might do dumbbells for a little bit, and then if I start to feel that the cut is just really starting to wane on me, um, I might make my way back to this when there's no stability required. Or next week I might come in here and say, "Fuck it, we're gonna stick with this." Um, we'll kind of see when the time comes. But yeah, so and I was watching. I want to make this kind of quick. I've already talked a lot, but I was watching a YouTuber, and I won't say the name to out them, but they were saying they were collabing with someone else, and they were bench pressing, and he said, um, "Don't let your elbows flare out. Don't let your elbows flare out." Because that's like the what's the word? Not cliche, but it's the common thing to say when someone's bench pressing. You know what I mean? Um, and they say, "Oh, because it can hurt your shoulder," and I don't necessarily agree with that because I actually feel more comfortable when I'm bench pressing, whether it be on decline, machine, um, flat, incline, when my elbows are flared out a little bit. Like when I try to collapse them and really have that powerlifting mindset and form where you're trying to almost collapse your elbows and bend the bar, that's when I start to get even more elbow problems. So it's like trading one problem for another. But if your elbows are flared out and you don't have any shoulder problems like me, I've never had any front shoulder problems which is most people have the issues when they let their elbows flare. It doesn't bother me one bit. So why should I collapse my elbows and tuck my elbows in when it hurts my elbows and have my elbows flared doesn't hurt my shoulder? I'm gonna do what works for me. And this is where it's like trial and error, becomes a big proponent of figuring out what works for you. Not like he said, the majority of people, will feel better with their elbows more tucked and to protect their shoulders. Yeah, that's probably a true statement. I don't know all the statistics, but I would imagine it's probably true. But that leaves a certain percentage of people that try it, and then it creates elbow problems like it does for me. And they'd be perfectly fine to just let their elbows flare. Like I was watching a Kevin Levrone chest day video, and his elbows flare out quite a bit actually. They do, and he's a pro bodybuilder. You gonna tell me he doesn't know what he's doing? That's just what works for him. It's not a cookie cutter or one size fits all thing in the gym. You got to find what works for you. And if having your elbows flare out a little bit feels great, you have no shoulder problems, no elbow problems, then do it. Don't let anyone else tell you otherwise, man. I mean, that's just. I mean, don't be so closed-minded that you don't listen. Like I said, trial and error. Try it. If it works for you, keep doing it. If it doesn't, try something else. You know. Anyways, I don't want to start ranting too much, so that was just kind of a quick thought I had. It just popped in my head randomly. I guess because we're about to press, and I guess it's actually because when I do this, my elbows flare out quite a bit. You'll see it. Anyways. Good first set. Perfect weight. Good amount of reps. Let's do it again. Okay. One more. All right. Fuck it. Let's do a drop set. But normally on the drop set, I would go down to 3 plates. When I do it on this, I'm gonna go down to 2. Try to get a little bit more volume, a little bit more control and time under tension. That's pretty much it. But yeah, let's go down to 2 plates. Okay. That was pretty fucking badass. Woo. On those last 2 or 3 reps, I was kind of squirming my legs around and shit. That's when you know the set's getting really good. You can't even find a place to Put your legs and sit still. That's good shit. All right, on to the next. Should I do these 2-second eccentrics again? I'm thinking yeah, but again, just like decline bench, they might not go as well. But the only way to know is to do it, right? So I'll do them. Um, I mean, worst case scenario, other than getting hurt, if it's that much more difficult, I'll go a little lighter, or I'll completely scrap the 2-second negative. But I want to give it a try today. So let's just do one and kind of see. I lost count again. That shouldn't be any surprise. But I think that was enough reps that we'll keep doing it. Why not? Whew. I'm starting to feel it pretty good. I think that drop set on the press machine will really kind of push it over the top. But we're about halfway done. We should be good. We'll do a couple more here. I might save the drop set for whatever I do last. Then again, I might not. You guys know how sometimes they can just kind of hit me, and I want to do one. So we'll wait and see. One little nugget or a tip, I guess, if your pec deck machine allows it, which most should. I feel better and I get a better chest contraction when I put my feet kind of behind me, and there's this little part of the machine that it's probably about 3 inches up off the ground, and I can bring my feet all the way back, and it just I don't know, it just feels. I feel like I get a better stretch. Now, whenever I mean, some people might feel stronger with their feet out in front of them, kind of pushing, against the pad. I mean, there's no really wrong way to do it, but I've noticed whenever my feet are out in front of me like that, I tend to want to round when it starts getting tough. When my feet are behind me, it's just natural. At least for me, it's kind of more natural to just kind of open up, which is what you want to do when you're doing any kind of fly. Open up your chest so you get that good stretch, and then even at the peak contraction, the more you're kind of arched and open, the more you're gonna feel it. So I don't know. It feels better for me. It's something you can try. If it doesn't work, throw it out. Won't hurt to try it though. You might like it way more. I know I do. Okay, one more here. Shit. Ah, fuck. All right. Damn it. Yeah, let's do a drop set. That did not go like I wanted it to. Holy shit. I might regret doing that during the next exercise. Ah, but fuck it. It's the last one. If I can make it through 3 more sets, and and that was kind of the difference. The fuck am I even doing here? It shouldn't. It shouldn't affect me that much, right? Okay. Um, maybe some decline flies. I think so. Kind of by default, but we'll do them. All right. I guess I lied to you guys. I'm not gonna do decline dumbbell flies today. I've kind of. And this is what I don't. I do this too often. Really, this is what I don't like to do. I've. When I first started doing them, I was what's the right way to say it? I was so into it. I don't know. I mean, I felt like it was working so good, and now I'm to the point where I feel like I've been doing them too much, and they still work, but I just need to switch it up a little bit. And honestly, this machine doesn't really go heavy enough. It doesn't, but I'm pretty much gonna do probably like a 3 second eccentric on these, just to make it so that I'm not doing 20 reps or more. Hopefully, that kind of brings me down to 12 or 15. And if not, I don't know. Maybe I will go to decline flies because I don't know. We'll see. Let's just do a set. How many was that? Once again, I do not know. But I feel like if I shorten my rest period enough, these would be viable. It'd be worth it. So maybe like a minute or just a tick longer rest. Yeah, why not? All right, you know what? Let's just split it up. Did a couple sets here. I kind of wish I would have did it reversed, knowing that I'm doing this now. I wish I would have started with decline flies, but I did two here. Let's go over to decline, do two sets of flies. I think we'll call that good. This just isn't heavy enough, man. I wish, you could add 40 or 50 pounds, and then it'd be pretty good. But you can't. I got it completely maxed out, so let's just go to decline, and I'll do a couple there. Go a little heavier. Try to be in that 10 rep range like always. And then probably do a little bit of a pose down. I think one more like that and we'll be good. Ah. All right, so a drop set was not in the books for this. It was not in my plans, but sitting between the previous set and this set, I don't know. I just had the urge to do a drop set. I will say, laying at a decline like that, kind of back to back with very little rest, really can fuck with your head. It can. I don't know if it was with the 75s or 45s, but at one point, I had to stop because I was pretty much on my final rep or two. And I remember I laid my head back and it felt like the dumbbells were slowly drifting, more and more this way. And I was just going to drop them. That's why whenever I'm doing this, me personally, I don't lay my head down because when I do, it just feels like I naturally just want to start drifting back this way. So if I kind of keep my head up a little bit, I stay more in that position and form that I want to be in. But yeah, I think we're done. That's it. Let's uh let's do some posing. All right, here we are. It's been like it's probably been a month or two, dare I say, since I've posed here for after a chest day. Now usually on a back and bicep day or a arm day, whatever. This is where I pose for all the front ones. But for chest, I've been posing over there a lot. And on the other side of this wall is when I put my light up and I pose there. But it's been a good while since I've done chest here. So I figured, why not? We'll do it here. The only thing I don't like, I mean, the lighting is phenomenal here. I love this spot. But I have to zoom in so much to get it where I want it. It does blur the image a little bit. But fuck it. It's some badass lighting. So let's do some poses here. Let's get right into it. All right. Now, hopefully, in about, we'll say a minimum of 2 months. That's 8 weeks, yeah. And then, I guess I said 10 weeks, so a minimum of 10 weeks, maybe even all the way up to 16. We can come back here and see some pretty gnarly shit. You know what I'm saying? See a lot more cuts, a lot more definition, a lot more dryness and hardness. Now, like I said, with my job, I can only deplete myself of water so much, especially as as it's going to get hotter and hotter. So it's going to be very tough. But as long as I deplete myself of calories and carbs, 10 to 16 weeks from now, should see something pretty freaking cool. This is the biggest I've ever been, and I'm still fairly lean. You know what I mean? So I'm thinking just 15 to 20 pounds of strictly water and fat, maybe even 25 at the most, and we should see something pretty cool. A lot of that's going to be around my midsection because that's where I pack it. That's why my arms and shit can stay so lean. So it'll give me more of that X frame, more of that V taper. If I can lose a lot of it right here, and I'm gonna lose it other places. That's just that's just how it goes. But yeah, pretty good day. I think we're done. So let's wrap it up and call it a day. Let's get out of here.